What is up, guys, and welcome to tutorial 18. In this tutorial we're going to be learning about parameters, and this is a pretty simple topic if you pay attention, but it can be a pretty difficult concept to get at first. The first thing we're going to talk about is what a parameter is, and the next thing we're going to talk about how to use it. But first let's get to what it is. Basically, it's this a set of values inside these parentheses right here in our procedure. When we declare a procedure, this is a sub procedure, and inside these parentheses is something called parameters. Now, if you just had one parameter, then it would be called a parameter, and we're just going to undo that. And the way you calculate how many parameters you have is you do this and you look until you see a comma, and the comma is basically a separator for the parameters, and each value declaring an integer is a new parameter if it's separated by a comma, and it has to be separated by a comma. And pretty much this is just saying create a new local variable, not a global variable. It means it can't be accessed up here above sub procedure because it's local and not global, which if it was global you could access it anywhere, and you could actually, it would say it's saying basically this isn't declared because it can't see where it's declared at. And basically what this is saying, and you don't have to worry about by val right now, that's in the next tutorial, and by ref. And if you look down here, you see this little squiggly blue line. What this is saying is the amount of parameters or arguments that we've set inside these parentheses is not matching the parameters. Now, when I said arguments, I basically mean the thing separated by a comma in the parentheses where you're calling the procedure. And the difference between an argument and the parameters is you're not declaring anything. You're basically just giving the parameters a value for us. Well, I can't really explain how you give a value without explaining by val right now. Just once you watch the next tutorial on by val and by ref, you'll understand what I mean. But for right now, just say that 10 is being changed. int num1 is being changed to the value of 10, and int num2 has been changed to the value of 5. Now, in our label, we're displaying what int num1 and int num2 is equal to. Now, basically, we're saying 10 plus 5, and the reason it's 10 plus 5 is because we're sending these values to these parameters. And remember, this is called an argument. And make sure you're not adding more than one or more than the amount of arguments or parameters that your subprocedure has. So this right here is 3 arguments, and this right here is 2 parameters. You need to have 2 parameters and 2 arguments. And another thing I want to bring up is these arguments must match the order of the parameters up here, which is basically saying if this was 5, basically if you wanted to switch these around to 5 and 10, you're basically saying now num1 is 5 and num2 is 10. It's not actually switching the value, switching the declaration around. And that's pretty much all the problems with parameters, and that's going to lead us on to our next tutorial when we're discussing what this little thing right here means by val. And don't forget to watch the next tutorial because it's very important, and you won't understand a word I just said, maybe a little, but you won't understand exactly what I mean until you watch the next tutorial. So don't forget to subscribe, and that's all for this tutorial. Goodbye.